Well, he's out of Anderson, Texas these days, and he was definitely a driver to watch last year in the IMCA Wild West Speedweek. Richard Mills talks to us about his career and how it started, based in the Houston area originally, and then moving inland a little bit, not too far from heart of Texas and Kennedale Speedway and Cotton Bowl Speedway in the Lone Star State. Hear about his racing accomplishments and more. That's coming up next on the Beyond the Flags podcast. But before we get to the interview, make sure wherever you're listening or watching from, you hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes. Well, representing the Lone Star State of Texas from Anderson specifically, Richard Mills joining us in the 66 Sunoco IMCA Stock Car. Richard, always a pleasure to talk to you. I know that we got to know each other pretty well last year during the Wild West Speedweek out here in my native Pacific Northwest, and it was great to see you guys make that long journey and obviously have some decent results up here.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We kind of had a boys trip. We were running pretty good with the stock car at the time, and just wanted to go do something different. Loaded Dad up, some crew guys. I've got a crew guy out that actually lives in Portland or outside of Portland, Cliff Haynes. And just always as a boy, I would go out there in the summertime to see family, and we'd go to these different racetracks. And so to get to go back and actually get to race there and have good nights was just really, it was icing on the cake. And then we picked up that one win on Father's Day out there. And to have my dad there, that was just, I don't know if I can top that. It was just a good trip.
Yeah, no doubt. And as you said, got to go see some racing, but actually being on the racetrack, what did you think as far as compared to some of the tracks that you frequent in Texas?
So, I got the impression the competition is the same. Those guys out there are fast. You take the top 5 or 6 guys out there, they could come here, run Kennedale, Heart of Texas, Cotton Bowl, any of these tracks around here, and they would fit right in and could win for sure. I loved the facilities. You get a good mixture of new tracks that are just spit shined up, really nice, and then you got some of the older tracks that just have a lot of history behind them. Mm-hmm. And so it was a neat variance. The people were so good to us that I joked with BJ Wild the other day. I said, "Hey man, I need a car so I can get back out there this year, because I just recently sold the car I took out there last year, and I want to come back. I'd love to come back and do it again. Obviously, financially it's a big trip, mm-hmm. And it takes about 2.5, 3 weeks of my life. And this year I've got so much going on with my kiddo and different things with his sports that I just can't devote the time, but just had a great experience. Everybody was good to me. Even IMCA Dave was good to me. He tore us down that one night, and he was good to us. And so I'm all about it.
Cool. Yeah. Hopefully, hey, maybe you might be a hired gun. Somebody might have a seat open and they have 2 cars, and it's like, you know what, I'm focusing on my modified or my sport mod. You can be my stock car driver.
Man, I'd be there in a heartbeat. I actually have got a brand new stock car motor sitting here. It's never been in a car. And I hem hauled around like, what do I want to do? Do I want to try to put a car together and go out there? I've got, all my buddies that race around here and race at Cotton Bowl and Waco and whatnot. And I've actually got a friend here in town that has a second car, and we've joked about me jumping in it. And shout out Tyler Moore. So maybe that'll happen. I'm focusing a lot of my time on my big block modified, my Northeast modified car, and just yeah, trying to get as much racing done as we can.
Well, and how did the whole racing journey start with you? First time seeing races. How did you get kind of sucked into this culture of racing?
Well, I was very fortunate. My parents owned a retail tire shop in Corpus Christi, Texas, and they sponsored some cars when I was a kid. And my dad always drag raced, but I always wanted to go to the stock car races, and so he would take me to all the stock car races as a kid, and him and my mother sponsoring some cars just really kind of lit the fire, if you will. And then I guess it was my senior year of high school or right there after that, 1995, 96 is really the year. A neighbor of ours built a street stock, elderly guy by the name of Glenn Berg, and 105 Speedway here in outside of Houston had just opened, and he built a car and put me in it. And I didn't know much about anything other than turn left and get after it. And so we did that and had some success. And then my parents, we bought a car from the late George England, who was just a big time guy around the Houston area back in the day, and ran his car some. And then I don't know how we did it, but we ended up with a modified, an IMCA modified, and it sat in the garage for probably a year with us just staring at it, not knowing what to do. Finally put it together, and it seemed like from then on, it just kind of, it progressed and had some good sponsors that helped out a lot, and we got better. I think we chased our first feature win for probably 7 or 8 years before we got it, and we led a lot of races. We could lead races for 19 laps and spin out on the last lap and go do it again the next night and do the exact same thing. And finally, it seemed like once we broke through, we started getting some wins here and there. So, just really fortunate. I was fortunate from the get-go and had good people helping me. And of course, my family, they spent a lot of money for me to go do that. And, went from the modifieds to the late models and ran late models for a long time, and until it just got to be just too much. It was with kids growing up and my business taking off, and it was just, I had to step back a little bit. And that's when I got back into stock cars, and it was like we never missed a beat.
Well, and the stock car culture is pretty thick and talented. Reading about now, watching a lot, and even seeing some of these guys in person, the Egbert family, the Abbeys, Jason Batt, Matt Gillum, Dennis Bissonette. There's some fast cats down there. I know that you said that some of our guys could come out there and run house, but those guys, especially, when the Lone Star Tour was going on and things like that, some notable names, especially in the EQ cylinder head Southern region.
Sure. Yes. You show up and you've got the Egberts to deal with, and Shelby Williams and Cody Smith. There's just a bunch of them, and these guys are good. And they, I don't know how much time they get to spend on their cars during the week, but they show up and they don't have failures, and they're fast. They're fast on any track surface, and truthfully, it's made me better. You're either going to get better or you're going to be running B mains. And when I jumped back into a stock car, I was the B main bandit for a long time, and but with a lot of work, a lot of help, we got better and better, and then we started getting some top fives and a win here and there, and I owe a lot of that credit to guys like Dennis Bissonette, and to him, he helped me a ton early on, and Shelby Williams helped me a lot, and I appreciate those guys, because if you don't have somebody to lean on, you're kind of out to lunch, so to speak.
Yeah. Shelby is definitely a guy that is really coming to his own. It seems like the All-Star Shootout around Memorial Day weekend has kind of been his ATM, as he's been doing very well. Had a really good Winter Nationals, was pretty strong during Clash on the Coast, and he's him and his dad Gary, just a great family. And another up-and-comer, too, I think is notable, kind of from your neck of the woods. You're talking about Corpus Christi. Cameron Starry is, I think, one to look forward to in the years to come.
Yeah, for sure. That kid is he has embarrassed me so many times at Cotton Bowl Speedway. I can be leading something and think I got it won, and that kid, I think the last time he took me to school, I led it for I don't know how many laps, and the kid passes me, and I notice his right rear shock is hanging off his car. It's not even attached, and he just motored away from me and makes perfect laps. He's definitely fast, and they're smart. They got good equipment, but truthfully, anymore everybody has good equipment. The guys that are running top 10, really the guys that are making the features every night, they just got good stuff, and their programs are good, and you just got to be on your game. But again, I feel like those top 5-10 guys that we raced with out there last year in your area, they all had the same equipment and the same programs. I feel like they would be good. Mr. Roberts, all of them, they're fast.
Yeah. Now, you're talking about 105 Speedway outside of Houston, Corpus Christi, on the Gulf part, but also Kennedale, Cotton Bowl, Heart of Texas. Build out of Anderson. How did you get moved inland? What's the story there?
So, when I was, I guess probably junior high or sometime right in there, Dad took a job in Houston, and we've always been an oil field family, and so we moved up north of Houston, and we were, for the longest time, we literally lived 13 miles from Gator Speedway, which was North Houston, and between there and 105 Speedway in Cleveland. And so for years, we would run the features at Gator Speedway with the modified, and then bolt on Hoosiers and go run we tag the back of the feature in the modifieds at 105 Speedway. And we did that for several years. So just was in a good spot. We could race Friday nights one place and literally get in 2 features in on Saturday night, back in the heyday when we had, a lot of racetracks around. And then later in life, my wife and I moved out to Anderson, and it kind of put me in a spot where I'm just closer to Waco and Cotton Bowl. Everything's about 2.5 hours away. And so, like even Abilene, I like to go to Abilene and run, and it's further, but I don't know. We'll show up anywhere randomly, it seems like.
Sure. Well, and also, I just kind of remember it as like hosting special events, but Houston Raceway Park in Baytown, and then I think it was Royal Purple Speedway or Raceway at one point. That was around in the Houston area too.
Yes, sir. Yep. So we ran there when we had the super late models. We ran there when they'd have specials, and then they ran a crate late model class there for several years, and we were fortunate enough to race there and get some feature wins there. Hated to see that place go away. It was a jewel, asphalt pits, gorgeous. Everything about it was perfect, and really hated it when that place went away, because it was the premier place around here to go race. And but yeah, so just between there and Beaumont had a nice racetrack, and we ran the late models in Louisiana, Mississippi, all the way to Florida and back, and just was really fortunate to get to do all that.
Are you looking to find that adrenaline rush, but you can't because you're not at the racetrack? Well, check out the IMCA TV Replay subscription library to have access to thousands of hours of racing for just $24.99 a month. Relive all the moments of the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's at Boone Speedway, the Harris Clash at Deer Creek Speedway in Spring Valley, Minnesota, the IMCA TV Winter Nationals at Cocopah Speedway in Somerton, Arizona, Florida's Clash on the Coast, and dozens of Speedway Motors IMCA weekly racing program racetracks from across the nation, as well as the IMCA TV Dirtcast podcast. Plus, 25% of that $24.99 monthly fee goes towards the Drivers Point Fund and is a great way to help out your local racers. In 2023, over $97,000 was paid out to IMCA drivers directly at over 50 racetracks across the country. Please note that live broadcasts are not part of the replay subscription. That's IMCA TV. IMCA TV, where America comes to watch racing. The number is 66. What's the story behind that?
We literally had bought my first stock car from George England and them, and it didn't have a number on it. We were going to the racetrack first night out. Didn't have a number. Nobody could figure out a number, and I think my mother said 66 or something like that. It had absolutely no meaning at all. And now, I think it's been 20-something years, 25, 26 years later, and it's always been my number. I've driven other cars for other people at different stuff, but that's how it started, and, headed to the racetrack and, oh man, we need a number. And so, no meaning, but now it means everything.
Sure. You made it your own.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And boy, for a lot of years though, I didn't know if there was a hidden six in there, it was 666 or something. Cause it seemed like we didn't tear up, we broke. So, just the learning part of it. And I've always been probably a little bit too aggressive. That's why I do tend to do better in these cars that have bigger tires and bigger brakes. But yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. We've a lot of bent up sheet metal over the years. Couple of really awesome wrecks that were all my fault. And but then we've got our feature wins too. So I guess it all balances out.
For folks that have never been to Anderson, Texas, or maybe the surrounding area, what are some points of interest, or maybe some good restaurants, or things to see if they're ever passing through, or if ever they decide to kind of hang out in that area?
So we're in a kind of a neat spot. We're northwest of Houston, but with the toll roads and whatnot, you can be in Houston within an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 30 minutes. We've got College Station right up the road, home of the Aggies, Kyle Field, tons of great places to eat. The Mexican food here is on point. I would put it up against Mexican food anywhere in the country. But specifically Anderson. Anderson is a ranching community. We've got a gorgeous courthouse, and everything that happens in our little town happens around our courthouse, and our lighting of the Christmas tree, all the high school events happen there. It's a neat place to call home and raise kids, just because it's almost like stepping back in time, sort of. Everybody knows everybody. It's friendly. It's a good place to raise kids.
That's super cool. And I assume, being a ranch in town, the meat and the steaks are probably second to none too.
Yeah. We've got a steakhouse here in town that I don't know how they do it, what they put on them. I've tried to mimic it several times, and but yeah, we've got a nice steakhouse. We've got they just opened a little pizza place in the old pharmacy, and it's pretty good. I got to give them credit. And then we had a cafe, and it closed down, but some good friends of ours reopened it, and I had to test the cheeseburger yesterday, and it was pretty good. So yeah, we're moving up in the world out here.
There you go. It passed the test.
it did. It passed the test. Now, that's about all we got. So, if you're going to stay long, you're going to get bored with the food. So,
well, that's wonderful. For people that want to follow your racing journey, is there a good social media page or a website that they can look to?
Sure. My Facebook, Richard Mills 66M. They can go there. I'm on Facebook all the time. I'm trying to learn the rest of it. At 48, I'm kind of behind times on TikTok and Instagram and all that. My son's girlfriend is, she's pretty savvy with that. And so they post a lot of videos and different things. But it's all there. I probably need to do a little bit better job, but when racing season gets fired up, we put out everywhere we're going and the places, what we're doing. And, this year is going to be a little bit different just because we're trying to race different cars in different classes, in two different parts of the world, it seems like. So, but yeah, it'll all be there on Facebook, and, just have a look. And if somebody's at a racetrack or they're headed this way, come look for us.
Awesome. And, do you do online apparel sales? I know I got a t-shirt from you last year. Or is that kind of one of those deals where you got to be at the track?
No, I mean, we can send out t-shirts for sure. Just message me on Facebook, and we can get stuff sent out. We do take stuff to the track from time to time. Truthfully, when we went out west, we took, I don't remember if it was 100 t-shirts or 125. I think we literally brought home like 12 or 13 t-shirts.
Wow.
Yeah, that was amazing. I was blown away by, how many people were stopping at the end of the night. And a lot of people don't, I mean, all of us in the racing world that do this and sell merchandise, we all get it. You need that money matters. And, I think it was, Sunset Speedway they actually bought 25 or 30 shirts themselves. And, you don't realize it at the time, but that money matters, especially, getting up and down the highway. So, just really appreciative of everybody out there. So, and it's fun to trade t-shirts with your other buddies that you race with too. So,
oh, totally.
But yeah, so, they can message me on Facebook and I can get stuff put in the mail pretty quick. And, it's a big thank you to whoever does, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll see if we can drum up some sales for you. People that you want to thank, sponsors. Obviously, you mentioned it without support of any sort of kind, whether it's helping the pits, maintenance, or even sponsorship or partnering up somebody through marketing, it would be pretty much impossible for racing at all to exist.
That is correct. And I certainly could not do it without a bunch of help that I have. Off the top of my head, top-notch used autos, used cars, they help a ton. TNT Motorsports, Ty and Tracy Russell, they help. My company, Lone Star Brush Control, we do what we can ourselves. Santa Weld, Doug and Neil Manchester have been really good to me over the years. Hitman Designs, Sean Graham, another stock car guy, does all my vinyl for me. He does a good job for me. AARE Racing Engines, I got to thank them. They've been with me for several years now and have helped a bunch. When it comes to crew guys and whatnot, another stock car guy down here that's really good, David Leger Jr. He helps a lot. He lives down the road from me. So, it's just good to have good help and good sponsors. My parents are getting older in life and they make it to as many races as they can. And, if I'm headed out of town, my dad's the first one in the truck to go. So, it's fun to still have family around to help do it and make it fun. My wife and kiddos go when they can, but with sports and, everything going on, I'm a new granddad. So, we got a grandkid in the family now, so that takes away a little time from my oldest son. But yeah, it's good to have family, and they all help.
That's wonderful. That's super cool to hear, and obviously congratulations on being a grandfather. I'm sure that's been a lovely experience.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I just got back from seeing him. They're actually in the upper area of Michigan right now, and I just got back from New York. I went up and got parts for my new car and got a little education on the suspension on these things. And so I thought, well, I'm 8 hours from them. I need to go see my grandson. And
there you go.
And that was a great trip. I'm really glad I got to go, and hopefully every couple of months I can make it up there and visit with him. And came back through Kansas and picked up a new trailer. So we got a lot going on.
For sure. Well, hopefully before too long we'll see you back in a stock car, maybe for some cameo appearances, especially here on the West Coast.
Yeah. So if anybody's got an old ride that they need a pilot for, I'd love to talk to them. Like I said, I've got a brand new stock car motor sitting here, and I've got a ride that I'll be in here some in around Cotton Bowl and Waco and whatnot. And I can't get too far away from the stock cars. They're the love of my life, so to speak.
Sure. I was going to say the Baby Blues coming up.
Yeah. So actually going to go with David Leger and his car owner. We're going to go do that deal. I'm going to help them. That's a pretty neat deal, and it sounds like the money is getting bigger too. We've pretty fortunate here in the state. We've got some really good stock car races this year. And last year as well, we had a lot of good races all the way up through December. In Corpus they had a big stock car race, and so looking forward to being at Waco in a couple of weeks. I guess that's next Friday, if I remember right, and just go from there.
Well, awesome. Well, it's always a pleasure, like I said, to talk to you, and I wish you the best in 2025, and we'll definitely stay in touch.
Hey, yes, sir. You have a good day, and I appreciate it.
Well, race fans, that does it for this interview. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you continue to enjoy these upcoming interviews. We appreciate it if you would like and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever it's at. Give us a like and give us a subscription so that we can deliver more of these great interviews to you for your listening pleasure. In the meantime, wherever we're at, wherever you're listening, we hope you have a great rest of your day and a pleasant evening, and we will see you soon here at Highside Racing Promotions.